South Africa is considered one of the most beautiful countries in the world. However, our unofficial national flower, the plastic bag, is a constant eyesore within this beauty. South Africans consume approximately 8 billion plastic bags annually, the production of which contribute 1.6 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions and require enough petroleum to drive a car 23,000 times around the circumference of the Earth. And what a waste! 96% of these bags end up in landfills. The lax attitude of many South Africans to reuse and recycle means that we are one of the highest consumers of plastic bags in the world. In 2003, the South African government introduced a plastic bag regulation with the aim of reducing consumption by 50%. However, this target is far from being met. The regulation is threefold. It prohibits the manufacture of thin plastic bags, imposes a levy on the manufacturing of thicker plastic bags, and bans food retailers from providing free plastic bags. Food retailers provide thicker regulation plastic bags at a charge to the consumer, which in theory is to incentivize consumers to take reusable bags when they go grocery shopping. Consumers are charged approximately 50 cents a plastic bag, which, if an individual purchases an average of 5 bags a week, equates to over 200 Rand a year. The costs that aren't realized by consumers are the various external or spillover costs incurred by the environment and society in general that both directly and indirectly result from plastic bag consumption. Plastic bags don't biodegrade, but rather they photodegrade, meaning when plastic bags react with sunlight, they break down into smaller and smaller toxic bits, which end up entering our food chain through the contamination of soil, waterways, and animal food products. Costs to society also include the cost of collecting, recycling, and disposing of plastic bags, which release harmful toxins into the atmosphere. Overall, plastic bag consumption results in compounding damages to both society and the environment, which become increasingly difficult to repair. The cost to produce a plastic bag in South Africa is only 8 cents. This in no way reflects the cost to society and the environment. In fact, an American study estimated that the cost of a plastic bag to the consumer is only a 13th of its estimated social cost. There is a dire need for drastic governmental and societal intervention. Although banning plastic bag production or introducing substantial levies will be effective, it is important to remember that such interventions would have repercussions within the sector. A sudden ban or drastic levy hike will see profitability drop and force producers to cut costs and downscale, probably lowering wages in the sector and resulting in job losses, two very sensitive political and socio-economic issues. There are also repercussions for people who rely on the use of plastic bags, especially those without easy access to transport. Despite these issues, we acknowledge that the measures currently in place are not sufficient to deter consumption, and we therefore propose a solution that is effective, yet also mitigates the repercussions. Specifically, we suggest initially doubling the levy charged to consumers, and then gradually increasing it by 40 to 60% per year. A slow introduction allows both producers and consumers to adjust to the new cost, and producers with diversified products could start to shift production away from plastic bags. Manufacturers reliant on plastic bag production will either have to change their product or be slowly forced out of the market over approximately a 5 to 10 year period. This gives producers ample time to find new techniques, products, and ways to exploit their assets, even if they are eventually forced to exit the sector. Consumers that are reliant on plastic bags will also have time to consider alternatives and alter their behavior. We suggest introducing a tiered levy, one that increases incrementally at certain levels. For instance, the per unit cost of bags bought beyond the 5th bag can be double that of a single bag, and the cost per bag beyond the 10th can be triple the normal price. Firstly, this policy targets wasteful consumption of plastic bags by addressing the higher marginal willingness to pay of the wealthy, who therefore necessitate a greater increase in cost to alter their behavior. And secondly, as consumers are forced to adapt, the demand for alternatives to plastic bags will increase and thus stimulate the innovation and production of alternatives, such as the reusable green bags. Overall, this policy is pro-poor in the sense that the costs of adapting will fall more equally between the rich and the poor. These two mechanisms, if implemented together, will hopefully lead to a decreased reliance on plastic bags. Although the time span over which this occurs is potentially long, this mitigates the economic costs of drastic interventions, which would otherwise fall disproportionately on the poor. We believe that in order to change consumer behavior, the price of the plastic bag needs to be increased substantially. When the charge for bags was first introduced, plastic bag consumption decreased by 90%, but since then consumption has increased and most consumers have become apathetic when it comes to paying for plastic bags.